gonna lay claim to. You can lay claim to Esther or Astarte, whichever one you want to. You are worshiping either one you want to tomorrow. You are not worshiping this God here. You are worshiping one of these. Go ahead and read.
The goddess of fertility.
Go ahead.
That's the end of that.
That's the end of that. Is good. Now that is what you are dealing with tomorrow. Now let me read you another account of it from a encyclopedia here. This is the American People Encyclopedia. And I want you to read what's underlined in red there, and then read what's underlined in red there. Go ahead and read.
Easter, derived from Estra, a Teutonic goddess of spring.
See what I said? A Teutonic goddess of spring. Same thing we just read out of the last 2 million years. Go ahead and read.
Many of the popular observances of Easter are pagan in origin.
And they are. Go ahead and read, because that is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with paganism. Go ahead and read.
Some may be traced to the feast of the goddess of spring, Estra. The church endeavored to give Christian significance to such of the pagan rites as could not be rooted out. Joy at the rising of the sun and the springtime awakening of nature became joy at the rising of the sun, sun of righteousness, or the resurrection of Christ from the grave.
See, that's what they took it. You know, you was dealing with the sun out there in the cosmos, but then they said, well, no, this is about the rising of the Son of God, S-O-N, Jesus, in other words. Go ahead and read.
The great bonfires, which formed a part of the pagan festivals, had their counterpart in the paschal tapers or Easter candles, sometimes weighing 300 pounds, with which the churches were lighted on Easter Eve. The Easter egg and Easter rabbit are also pagan in origin.
And you know that's pagan. What an egg and a rabbit got to do with the resurrection of Jesus anyway? You understand what I'm telling you? All of this was pagan, and they was doing this stuff long before Jesus even came in the flesh. Let's go. Now, I got to read you this, because I do not want somebody to come along and mess you up. Say, yeah, well, Easter's in the Bible. Well, the word Easter is in the Bible, but it is talking about the Passover. And we are going to show you that. Let's go to Acts chapter 12, and we will begin reading at verse 1. Acts 12 and verse 1. I figure I'd better read you this so somebody don't come along and take this and mess you up. Because this word is not dealing with the Easter that people going to celebrate tomorrow. This word came from a word that was translated from the word that the Passover comes from. Let's start reading at Acts 12 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword.
Go ahead.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
He said, then were the days of what? The
unleavened
days of unleavened bread. You know, all of this, it became, once you got in the New Testament, they started, well, you know the unleavened bread was called unleavened bread, but they even included the Passover as a part of the unleavened bread too. You know, because it reads sometimes like you go in the gospel, it reads that then were the days of unleavened bread, but then it separates it too. And the day that the Passover should be killed. But because on the Passover, you even had to eat unleavened bread, because you could not eat the Passover with leavened bread. You had to eat it with unleavened bread. So then the way it kind of read in some places that the Passover was also included as a part of the days of unleavened bread. Go ahead and read that next verse.
And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Now he said intending after Easter. This ain't talking about the Easter that they're going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to read you what this is really all about. And this came from a Bible dictionary, and we're going to read it. Read right there about Easter, because I don't want nobody to take that and mess you up with it. Now go ahead and read.
Easter, originally the spring festival in honor of Estra or Astarte.
Everybody's saying the same. It's telling you what where it really came from, but it's going to tell you how you came up with that word Easter that you find in the Bible as well. Go ahead and read
The
on.
Teutonic goddess of light and spring.
Go ahead.
As early as the 8th century, the name was transferred by the Anglo-Saxons to the Christian festival designed to celebrate the resurrection of Christ.
See what they did? They transferred it. You know, it was to the Christian festival that was designed to celebrate the resurrection of Christ. Go ahead and read.
In the AV, it occurs once.
That's in the authorized version. That is the version that we just read it from. It occurs one time. Go ahead and read.
In Acts 12 and 4, but is a
It occurs one time in Acts 12 and 4. What we just read. Go ahead and read.
but is a mistranslation.
But it said it's a mistranslation. Go ahead and read.
The original is Pasha,
The original was Pasha. Go ahead and read. That's a Hebrew word. Go ahead and read.
the ordinary Greek word for
He
Passover.
said an ordinary Greek word for Passover. I said Hebrew, but it's Greek. The ordinary Greek word for Passover. Go ahead and read.
The RV properly employs the word Passover.
He said the RV, the revised version, it properly employs the word Passover. So now, that is why you come up with the word Easter in the Bible. But it is not talking about this Easter that they going to keep tomorrow and where they supposed to be commemorating the resurrection of Jesus. Here in the book, it is referring to the Passover because it said then was the days of unleavened bread. Let's go further now. Let's go to, let's deal with your Palm Sunday, brother.
Right.
Now, I want you to read here from the American People Encyclopedia here, and we are going. It is volume 15, and we are going to read about your Palm Sunday. Go ahead and read.
Palm Sunday.
Palm Sunday. Go ahead.
One of the important feasts of the Christian church is the last Sunday of Lent,
Go ahead.
the Sunday before Easter.
See, they had Lent, and they had what's the one where they put the X on your head, Ash Wednesday, which you can't find in the Bible. I told you I didn't have time to deal with all this stuff. You know, you had your Lent. Then you had your Ash Wednesday where they gonna take some ashes. See, what they gonna do is, or what they said they gonna do is, anyway, I don't know if they really do it, but they said they burn the palms on Palm Sunday. Then the next year when Ash Wednesday comes, they take those ashes and then everybody come by and they get the sign of the cross marked on their forehead.
That's right,
That was
brother.
supposed to have been from like the ashes that they used this past Ash Wednesday came from the Palm
Palms.
Sunday that they celebrated the past
That's
before
right,
that.
brother. Yes,
Now, he said Palm Sunday. Go ahead and read.
And introduces Holy Week.
It said, I told you, Holy Week. Palm. See, this whole week was supposed to have been holy. You know, it started last Sunday and it will end tomorrow. It introduces Holy Week. Go ahead and read.
It is the commemoration of the incident related in the New Testament concerning Christ's triumphal ride on an ass into Jerusalem during the week preceding the crucifixion. His followers hailed him as king, shouted hosannas, and strewed palms in his path, from which the present day's feast derives its name.
Now, and that is written in the Bible, but I'm going to show you it was not on no Sunday. Let's go and read one account of it. Let's go to John chapter 12, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. John 12, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Now, this happened just before his crucifixion. You know, he came into Jerusalem, and they strode the palms all down and all of that, and they cried, Hosanna to the King, Hosanna to the King, and this was just before his crucifixion.